Hi, everybody. Welcome. Spagni members, we are so happy to be with you today. We have a really exciting interview with Enoch Glidden. He's here joining us, and he's going to talk to us a little bit about himself, about how he got into adaptive climbing, and really where he's going and what his goals and aspirations are for adaptive climbing. So thank you, Enoch. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for asking me. I'm really glad I was able to do this.
Yeah, it's exciting because, our members right now, a lot of things are canceled this summer. Our beloved Camp Bifida got canceled this summer, which is in Pennsylvania. And I know a lot of our teenagers were interested in going. So we're happy to provide them with great programming and hopefully get people inspired about learning about what people like yourself are doing and how they stay active.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see a whole group of Spina Bifida from the community get into climbing and all kinds of things. It would be an amazing thing. We could even have a climbing club or something. Who knows?
Ooh, that'd be
very cool.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit, Enoch. I know, you've been involved with adaptive climbing for a long time. Tell us a little bit about how you got started, when you got started, and really what was it that spiked your interest in it?
So really my journey actually starts in junior high with my phys ed teacher, Bob Dyer. So he was the person that really decided that I was going to be involved in everything, no matter what. So he got me involved in skiing and wheelchair racing, and I managed the basketball team. Then he got me on a wheelchair basketball team, and I've gone skydiving and pretty much everything you could think of, I've tried. So yeah. He's really the person that pushed me to realize that I could pretty much do anything if I figured out how to do it.
Right.
So fast forward a bunch of years, and I had a friend from high school who worked as a rescue ranger at Mount Rainier, and he was performing his duties as a ranger, and he reached up for a helicopter that was rescuing some people off the mountain, and unfortunately he missed. So he fell, and he lost his life that day.
Oh my God.
So I went on Facebook after that and just started looking at all the amazing places that climbing and adventure had taken him, because he posted lots of pictures. So I decided that day that I was going to get up Mount Rainier and see that view for myself. So that's what got me started on the road of climbing. So then I went on Google and I found an organization called Paradox Sports, and they teach people with all abilities to climb either rock or ice. And they had a trip to the Gunks that year in New York. It's about a couple hours north of New York City. So I signed up immediately and went to their climbing trip that in October of that year, and realized I really loved climbing.
Yeah.
It was just the ultimate challenge, because the only person that's going to give you up that rock is yourself. So I just really loved the climbing, and I really loved the community, because climbing is a huge community, and everyone in that community is really into helping everyone else achieve their goals. So it's like a huge family, and I think that's really what drew me to climbing, was the challenge in the community.
That's amazing. I think one of the things that that made me really, that stuck out in my mind that you mentioned, was that you had a mentor early on, or not even it sounds like a mentor, but someone that took you under your wing and said that, you can accomplish so much, and don't put limits on yourself because of your spina bifida.
And he really was that person that he had a hand cycle built for me, so I could be on the bicycle club, and I mean, he really did. He just got me into everything that the other kids were doing. I was involved in, no matter what.
That's amazing. How are you now? I'm sure some of it was a little daunting and a little bit scary, because I think, with you, Tyler, sometimes I'll be like, let's do this, let's try this. And you're like, Okay, maybe. But like, I think what you're saying is too, it's so important to push past your fears
Yep,
and
definitely.
to just try new things and be open to failing, right?
Right,
Because
right,
sometimes you're gonna fail, but
absolutely.
hey, you know, that's
Almost nothing works out the first time.
right, right. But that doesn't mean that you can't get better at it and that you can't
Absolutely.
master it eventually, you
Right.
know?
Yep.
So that's awesome. And I love the fact that somebody really like took you under your wing and said, hey, don't put limits on yourself. You're going to get out there and you're going to do
Right.
this, and
Right.
this, and
Right.
try new things. That's amazing. And I think within our Spina Bifida community, I know with Tyler, like we're kind of still, I mean, you have some mentors. And I think honestly with tennis, and the reason why tennis is stuck with Tyler is because of why, Tyler? What do you think about your mentor, like Kyle and Leo?
Because I just feel like I'm more engaged into tennis, and I feel like it's like moving around and like it's good for me.
Yeah, and how do they treat you?
Like a person.
Like a person.
Exactly.
Not a person, just like someone without a wheelchair.
Exactly.
Right. They see Tyler. They don't see the disability. They know that he's capable and they treat him as such.
Right.
And that makes a big difference in a young person's life.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in an adult's life, if someone, like even at work or something, if you have a coworker who's more motivating, it makes things easier. It makes things go better, and it makes things easier to accomplish.
Right. Absolutely. My question is this: did you ever have moments though where you experienced struggle? Because you know, obviously, people with spina bifida have a lot of surgeries.
Yes. Definitely.
Yes.
All right. Yes.
Which we were talking about.
56.
56. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
You're feeling better about 26 now, right?
Hey, 26.
26 is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Because you're only 14.
Right.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, I think one of the things that sometimes holds people back who have spina bifida is that you guys have a lot of surgeries.
Yep.
And some of them have more recovery time than others.
Yep.
How are you able to overcome that adversity and still continue to be active in all these different sports?
So my longest stay was 3 months in the hospital. So that really took a chunk out of that year. But I think it really helped that a lot of my surgeries were at Shriners.
Oh.
And so they had a teacher there so I could keep up with my studies. And so that helped with school. But then with training, you just have to get right back at it as soon as you can. That's really all I did. Just get back at it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
like you kind of have to get over that hump because sometimes you can feel a little depressed too.
Yes.
oh yeah, I mean, when you're in the hospital and you're just hundreds of miles from home and people can't visit you and you're there by yourself, it's kind of a lonely situation, but it helps having, I mean, the nurses and doctors are really great usually, and it helps having phone calls, and I got all kinds of cards from home, and so it really helped to keep me connected with my friends. I had one time, the school when I was in junior high held an auction to raise money for me while I was in the hospital. So all my friends brought their money, and a group of them paid $30 for a 6-pack of Pepsi.
Oh my God.
Just because it was for me. And so I think coming from a small community like that really helped basically all throughout my life, because I wasn't the kid in the wheelchair, I was just Enoch.
That's really
everybody knew me, so it really helped.
Yeah. That's really nice to hear. You know, you know, I'd say, you know, for teens, I know, I think for Tyler, it's been really challenging the last couple of years socially. Trying to keep up with your peers, managing through the surgeries, and yet still keeping up with academics and sports, and trying to have social.
Because honestly, I feel like I was more like at home than at school. Honestly, because I didn't really feel that I was at school a lot.
Right.
Because I kept missing and missing.
Because you miss a lot of school, and so then when you miss a lot of school, you
I
miss
just don't feel like I'm at school. I just feel like I'm at home all the time.
the social piece, right? Which is tough.
Yeah.
But like from what you're saying, it sounds like you were able to navigate through that, even when it was tough. Like even when you're in hospital for 3 months, you would get back at it as soon as you could to get back to all the adaptive sports that you love.
Yeah. And it definitely helps having a support system. So parents that didn't treat me like I was in a wheelchair, and friends and family and everything. I mean, that's huge when you need to get back to life, and you've been taken out of life for quite a while. So
absolutely,
that's huge.
Yeah, I think that's something, like, I'm glad that we talked about this, because I know that within the spina bifida community, I think that's one of the biggest challenging aspects of it is overcoming the surgeries and getting back into life and putting yourself out there, right? Putting yourself out there and building relationships with people and letting them know what you have going on too.
So speaking of putting yourself out there, so in the past few years since I started this whole climbing thing, I realized that if I just ask, someone out there is going to say yes. So I just put myself out on the internet and said, this is what I want to do, and this is how I want to do it. Who wants to help me? And you're going to find people.
Yeah, you will.
Put yourself out there, and it happens. It really does.
I love that. Hey, you know what? You put it out there. Look, you just quadrupled your exposure just by putting it out on quadrupled. I don't know, whatever. I was making fun on social media, but that's one thing about social media. There is a power in that where you can reach a lot of people, and it's amazing how many people out there are like inspired by what you want to be doing, and they're like, I want to be a part of what Enoch is up to.
Right.
You know,
and if you don't know how to do something, someone in the world has probably already done it, or at least tried.
Right. And don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what I keep telling Tyler. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to ask.
I'm not afraid to. I'm just afraid that someone's going to be like, oh no.
Who cares?
We'll move on to the next one.
Right. Exactly. Move on to the next person, because remember, not everybody's going to be a part of your tribe, and that's okay.
Yeah, a lot of people.
As long as somebody is.
But there will be someone that will be. Exactly. And when you find that tribe, that's it. That's gold.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So remember that. It's like, thanks, Mom. Okay. But oh my gosh. So when we were doing research, we were reading about your 5-day El Capitan trip up that rock. Like, how was the elevation of that? I don't even know.
So the total, I think the top is at 8,500 feet, but the distance climbed is about 3,000 feet.
Okay, I have vertigo, and that alone makes me like crazy about it.
There were definitely some scary moments.
So seriously, number one, tell us like where you got the idea to do it. Like, talk a little bit about that, and then talk about the process of how you were able to do it.
So actually, Mark Bauman did it in 1989. He was the first one to ever climb it using just his arms to do pull-ups on ropes. And so I saw it in Sports and Spokes magazine in 1989. But I actually got the idea because on that trip to the Gunks, with Paradox Sports, I met a guy named Sean O'Neill who has climbed it 3 times. And so it worked out that he only lived like an hour from me. So we started hanging out, became friends, and I decided that I wanted to try it. And so back up a little bit in the process, during that weekend, I asked some of the guides if there was something bigger I could climb, because we were doing like 40 or 50 foot climbs, and that was fun, but I wanted to do something big that took all day. So he, one of them suggested Cathedral Ledge in North Conway, New Hampshire.
Oh, yeah.
So we went there, and I did that and realized how much I loved bigger climbs.
Yeah.
And so I started reaching out to Paradox Sports, and they're the ones that really suggested I climb OCAP. So we wrote a grant, and I got it. So then I had to do it.
Yeah.
So
You're like, they gave me the money, so I guess I gotta get on that.
Yeah. So it actually took 2 years because I went out once and decided that I didn't know enough and wasn't prepared to
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
So I did a smaller climb and did 800 feet
Yeah.
on another rock and just practiced living on a portal edge for a night, which is the little platform that we stay on.
Yeah.
And realized that I had to figure out how to use the bathroom. I had to figure out how to eat. I had to figure out how to change my clothes, everything.
Oh my goodness.
So I went home after that and went to Sean's house, and we just started practicing those things and figuring out those things in his backyard on a tree. And so every day I would go to his house when the weather was good, and I would climb rope all day long as I could. I would try to get at least 10 ropes in a day, which is about 330 feet.
Wow.
So that was pretty much what I was going to be doing on OCAP. So it was a good average to try for.
Wow.
So yeah, that's pretty much how that process started.
Oh my God. So clearly you're a very determined individual.
Yep.
Who sets
But I
goals.
get an idea.
Yeah, sets goals and attends to them. You know
Yeah.
what's interesting, Tyler?
What?
Tyler loves roller coasters
Yes.
and heights and going
That's cool.
fast and
Yeah.
anything dangerous. So you guys,
Okay, maybe not too dangerous.
well,
Calm down.
kind of dangerous,
Yeah,
but
kind of.
maybe I just need to send you off to camp with Enoch.
Adrenaline junkie. That's what it's called.
Pretty fun.
Oh, did you hear that? You're gonna have to have your own camp, Enoch, because Tyler said, send me off to camp with him.
That would be awesome, actually.
I'm like done like rock climbing.
Hey, we might have just started something here.
An
We might
adventure camp.
adventure camp with
Team.
Enoch.
Team.
That'd be
up.
awesome.
Tyler's ready. He's like, sign me up.
That would be fun.
That's amazing. So
Yes.
like, I love that because you were like, that was number one, it's dangerous. Number two, you had really no idea how you were going to do it.
The mom.
Right.
kicks in
The mom
there.
mode kicks in here. Mom mode, mom worry about stuff. You also like, oh my God, the problem solving involved with this, like
Yeah.
the
That's really part of the fun
skills.
of climbing, though, is the problem solving. It's
Yeah, the daily
really a
life
mind
skills.
thing. Yeah.
And then honestly, just the sheer body strength you had to have to do that type of a climb is impressive.
So I was doing about 800 pull-ups every day.
800. Sorry.
I feel like-
That's
He's like a Wolverine. He's like, woo! Oh my goodness, that's crazy. But that just goes to show that how strong he was. No, but strong mentally and your body, because they have to go hand in hand.
Yes.
Right, definitely. I mean, so to climb OCAP, I had a 2-person team plus me, and one guy would climb ahead and set the ropes, and then I would just do pull-ups on the ropes with a special ascender that had a bar through it,
Mm-hmm.
and I could just pull up on it, and then I had another device on my harness right about here, and it would catch me from sliding back down the rope.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that's how I caught my progress.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like, how did you, like, I'm sure there was weather. How did you manage
Actually,
through
the weather was lucky. It was beautiful for 5 days in a row.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what would
Yeah.
you have done if it had been like rain or thunderstorms?
We would have had to ride it out.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, wow. I would have been scared of that
And
probably.
there's actually a section right next to where we were climbing that turns into a waterfall when it rains. So we would have got soaked.
Oh my word. Wow, so you must have gotten amazing footage. You brought your camera, like you
Oh
did.
yeah, we did a movie of it, and it's on my website too.
Yeah,
also.
we gotta watch that. I know.
Yeah.
We were like, that is on our list of to-dos. We're gonna
Yeah.
watch your.
My dad was like, "Oh, you should have watched it."
I know.
Yeah.
We will. We're definitely gonna watch it because that's just seriously, it's mind-boggling to me. It's amazing that you were able to do that, but that's really it. Like when you're super passionate and you
Yes.
love something as much as you did, you're like, I'm going to make it happen no matter what.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
so to make it happen, it took 15 people. And people saw me on the internet and changed their vacation time and just flew in to help. And people that didn't even know me. And I was sitting in camp one night and heard my name. And it was a woman from Italy who happened to be in a wheelchair. And she had flown over from Italy to be there while I was there and didn't even know me, just showed up. She climbed it too that week.
Wow.
Unfortunately, she didn't make it to the top, but she had some problems with her equipment. But
yeah.
We actually know some of them in Italy.
We do. Tyler had a gentleman, Nicola De Silvio, who was hashtag running for Tyler, and he would dedicate his miles to Tyler. Really
That's
great
awesome.
guy. We love the Italians. They're great people. They really are.
Awesome.
Great spirit.
Any Italian?
Yes, I know. Well, Enoch, that's awesome. So like literally you have these people that like banded around you and they wanted to do this hike, not hike, but that climb with you.
Their part was the hike.
Yeah, they hiked, you're climbing. That's amazing. So like tell us, when you got to the top, like when you reached your final goal and you got to the top, granted, I think getting down is harder.
It was.
Yeah, I was gonna like, it's the up. Yeah, you think it's the up, but it's the down. Yeah. What did it feel like? When you finished your climb, like tell us like what that was like.
So part of the reason I climb is because you can only get that perspective of the world one way. You can only see that view one way. Very few people are going to see Half Dome from that view. And when you turn around and you can see the whole valley, and it's an amazing, amazing feeling to have that accomplishment, but also just to take it in. It's like, it's almost undescribable, really. It's just an overwhelming, awesome feeling. Really. Yeah.
It takes your breath away almost. It's
like, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was like, I'm gonna do this too. You're gonna have 10 kids sign up tomorrow. Camp Enoch.
We can just put ropes all along camp and just go.
Hey, there you go. That's amazing. And so are you still friends with the people that were in your climbing group?
Oh yeah, there's some of them are gonna help me get up Mount Rainier too. So.
Nice. So when are you thinking of doing that?
Well, every year I say it's going to be June, and then every year something changes it. So I'm hoping next June, but we'll see. Yeah. Because of the whole COVID thing, it's put it on hold. So because I was making really good progress designing my ski and getting all the equipment ready, but then we had to put it on hold. So as soon as that's ready, then I'll have to test it and make sure it's going to work. And so it could be a couple of years, but hopefully in a couple of years.
Because what's your background again?
So I have a rehab engineering degree, but I also have a computer science degree.
So you're super smart. You're like a math genius, right? That's it. So yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, that's amazing. Because like, it's always interesting to see. I mean, obviously I think people are wired, sort of born and kind of wired that way. And you clearly have like just a special connection with it. I mean, to understand all that and to be designing your own equipment, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. I have a friend who's a mechanical engineer too. So his company's letting us use all their equipment and to be able to make the ski and design it and everything. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how do you have people from Maine Adaptive that you work with too? Like, because I know they do adaptive climbing as well, I think.
Yep, I actually helped start that program when they started it. And
no way.
Sean and I did actually. Me and Sean helped start that program. So.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we do the Maine Adaptive Skiathon. Yes. We tried to.
Yeah.
He's done that several times. Yeah, that's a great program.
Yeah. I volunteered a few times to help out with it. So.
Oh, that's really cool. So I also read, on top of the adaptive climbing, I also read that you skydive and hang glide.
So I've only done those both once. But
that's better than me.
Yeah. So in 2003, I decided to skydive. And there's a funny story with that. I signed up and then called my parents to tell them what I was doing. And my mom's like, "No, you're not." And I said, "Yes, I am." She said, "No, you're not." I said, "It's already paid for. I have to go."
I have to go.
Right. She's like, "Well, then me and your father are taking you." So they took me down. I did it in Pittsfield, Maine, and
Wow. You Mainers, you guys are maniacs. That's the thing.
yeah,
Maniacs.
Get
yeah,
it? Maniacs.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Ha, ha, ha. No, well, I do think within the Spina Bifida community, there are a lot of adventuresome people. So,
Maybe more.
and people who watch us are going to be, well, how can I do this stuff? Like, I want to go fast. I want to climb. I want to go really high. And you can. No, these
Yeah.
are all things that can happen. It's just that you might have
Literally
to
can do anything.
Right. You can do anything that you
Literally.
set your mind to.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I even know a quadriplegic that rock climbs. So
That's amazing. That's totally amazing. So, like, if people want to learn more about you, Enoch, where do they need to go? Like, where can they get information about you to learn more?
So my website is just enochglidden.com,
Mm-hmm.
and they can go there. It's also gobeyondthefence.com, but both things go there. So
And that's where your film is, right?
yep, it's on the main page, right at the top. And then I have a blog where I write about my different adventures. I actually just got into there was an adaptive shooting competition on Facebook, so I decided to sign up. And so now I'm practicing for that.
Oh, cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool.
Like with guns?
Like
Yeah.
adaptive shooting, like with guns. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you have a BB gun, Tyler. You can use your BB gun. We've
Where's
got
my BB guns.
we actually hid his BB gun, but we have a BB gun.
Why did you hide my BB gun?
I hid your BB gun from your brother. Okay.
Oh, why?
We had to do that once too, actually.
Yeah.
My brother snuck it out and shot a cargo by the house.
That's exactly why I hid the BB gun. I'm not really crazy. Oh my God. This has been, well, I could tell you, it has been so nice chatting with you.
Yeah, I'm glad.
I all these like ideas are like going up in my head about Camp Enoch. So you guys are gonna have to stay tuned because that sounds like a camp I'd want to be at,
We
right?
should totally do that.
Not
Tyler.
climbing, but watching.
Well, I don't necessarily, right, because I have vertigo, so I don't necessarily want to be doing that crazy stuff.
Yeah, that might be tough.
Tyler loves stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I know
I did rock climbing at Camp Spifida.
Camp Spifida had rock climbing wall, right, that they brought in.
Yes. No, not brought in. It's in the woods.
Oh, but you know what? We have our Brown Center here at UNH. We have a Brown Center activity coming up actually this month. So that's coming up, I think it's next week. I'm like, when is that? Which is exciting. But the Brown Center, they do ropes courses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, obviously we're not going to be there.
I've been there.
Right, and Tyler got to go there.
In school.
And they made it totally adaptive.
And that was
Oh, wow.
the best trip I've ever been to, honestly.
He loved
I
it.
felt more inclusive at that.
Yeah, he loved it. And the Brown Center is very inclusive. Like they foster it.
Right.
It's like,
Even with the kids,
with the kids, right? Like they got him engaged. It wasn't even a question. Tyler was doing it, you know?
Right.
Like oftentimes I think people just are not sure.
Right.
So they get afraid. And so that's why they don't always include.
Right.
But when you work with like people at the Brown Center, they foster that. They just get it.
That's very cool.
They just get her done and throw you into the mix, and no one even knew. No one knew that it was adapted.
Right.
They never said anything about it. It just was.
Right.
You know?
It just,
Which is awesome. And that's what we would love, I'm sure, about Camp Enoch is that it would just be, this is what we're doing. And right?
This is how we're gonna do it.
Yeah. And that's awesome. That is so cool. Well, thank you so much. I know people are going to want to check you out.
Yes.
And we are excited to share within our Spina Bifida community.
Yes.
You know, we've got lots of young adults, teenagers, young kids that are looking for things to do, like looking to challenge themselves and feel better about themselves and like just get out there. So, yeah. And one of the big takeaways today is that, and I think hopefully people are paying attention, is that you can do anything anything you set your mind to.
Very true.
Don't let your spina bifida hold you back.
No.
Be fearless.
Just put
And
it
have
out
fun.
there, and
Yeah.
someone will know how to do it.
Yes, exactly. Put it out there. Don't be afraid.
Just do it.
And you know what? It'll come back to you. Like
Right.
all that goodness will come back to you.
Definitely.
So this was awesome, and I'll make sure you guys know where to find Enoch. I'll share your website. I'll have all that on there, and then also we'll make sure that we chat again about the camp.
All right.
Give me Nick. Okay.
I know, like I was like, sign me up for this camp, like ASAP, if you want it. All right, Enoch, thank you
All
so
right.
much for joining us today.
Thank you.
All right,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye.